You plant a tomato today. By the end of summer, you might harvest 2 kilos. Next year, you plant again, and so on. Every year, the same cycle. What if I told you there's a plant that you plant just once, and it produces fruit for your family for 20, 30 years? I'm not talking about some exotic plant that's impossible to find. I'm talking about a plant that, until the 1950s, was in the backyard of almost every rural family in the world. A plant that agricultural experts recommended, that nurseries sold, that grandmothers grew, and that disappeared. Not because it stopped working, not because something better came along. It disappeared because it worked too well. Stay until the end, because what you're about to see here could completely change the way you think about your garden, your diet, and your independence. And if you don't follow the channel yet, do it now, because this is the kind of content the algorithm won't show you twice. Old black and white photo, rural garden, tall plant laden with fruit. Let me tell you a true story. A woman looks at an old photograph, black and white, faded by time. She's standing next to a plant taller than she is, covered in fruit, hundreds of them, maybe thousands. That's me, she says, 1953. That's my tree tomato. The plant was 3.5 meters tall. It produced for 18 years, until a frost killed it. We ate from that single plant almost all year round. We made sauce, dried them, and stored them fresh in the pantry. That single plant fed our family and half the neighborhood. And when asked what happened to it, her answer is simple, yet devastating. They stopped selling them. Nobody wanted them anymore. Everyone wanted regular tomatoes, hybrids, things to replant every year. I don't know why. The tree tomato was better. She didn't know she was describing one of the greatest cases of food suppression in modern history. Mature plant in the sun, large heart-shaped leaves, fruits in different shades. The plant this woman was growing is Solanum betatheum, known as tamarillo or tree tomato. I'm going to show you what it really is, not the exotic, inaccessible version they want you to believe in. The tamarillo is a fast-growing evergreen shrub. It reaches 2.5 to 4 meters in height in just 2 or 3 years. The flavor? Unique. Tart, slightly sweet, with notes of tomato and passion fruit at the same time. You can eat it fresh, use it in sauces, stir-fries, chutneys, and jams. You can dry and preserve it. But here's the most impressive part. Fresh. Tamarillo fruits last 4 to 6 months in cold storage. A regular tomato lasts a few days, 2 weeks at most. That difference alone would be enough to change everything. But we haven't even gotten to the most impressive part yet. Let's talk about production, about real numbers. A mature tamarillo plant produces between 20 and 45 kilograms of fruit per year. Some sources report up to 70 kilograms under ideal conditions, and the plant produces for 20 to 30 years. Do the math with me. One plant, 40 kilos per year, 30 years. That's 1,200 kilos of fruit from a single planting. Now compare that to the common tomato. A tomato plant produces between 5 and 15 kilos in a season. Then it dies. Over 20 years of replanting with an average of 10 kilos per plant, you reach 200 kilos. The tamarillo produces 2 to 5 times more food in the same space over the same period. And you plant it once instead of 20 times. Tamarillos in temperate climates produce year-round, not just in the summer. That means fresh fruit exactly when nothing else is available. If you're enjoying this information that you rarely see out there, hit the like button now. This helps this video reach more people who need to know about it. And you know what's most ironic about all this? The tamarillo is easier to grow than tomatoes. Much easier. Once established, it needs very little water. It's relatively resistant to pests and diseases. It doesn't need stakes or supports. It doesn't need to be replanted. You water the plants while they're getting established. After that, they simply produce for decades. Compare that to tomatoes. Annual replanting, mandatory staking, constant watering, and intensive pest control. The tamarillo is a plant that anyone with a small backyard, a spacious balcony, or a sunny spot can grow, and it will reward that investment for decades. So if the tamarillo is so superior, why have you never heard of it? Why has it disappeared from nurseries, backyards, and the collective memory? Pay attention here, because this is the heart of the video, and it's exactly the kind of thing they'd rather you didn't connect. If you came here from a share or a referral, comment below who sent you this video. It will be interesting to see where people are coming from. It wasn't an accident, it was a pattern. And when you see the 5 factors together, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. First, industrial agriculture accelerated after the war. The model shifted to annual crops, hybrid seeds, and chemical inputs. Perennial food plants didn't fit this model. Second, the tomato industry exploded with hybrids. Massive investment in breeding, transportation, and promotion of tomatoes. The Tamarillo received zero investment, not because it was inferior, because it wasn't profitable for the system. Third, the culture of the annual garden took over. A customer who plants a Tamarillo and harvests it for 20 years is a customer lost. They don't come back to buy tomato seedlings every spring. Fourth, agricultural advisory services shifted their focus. Knowledge about plants like the Tamarillo was simply set aside, not taught, not passed on, forgotten. Fifth, severe frosts in the 1950s and 1960s killed established plants. People didn't replant. Nurseries stopped stocking them. In a single generation, the Tamarillo went from common to unknown. But here's the detail that makes this story suspicious. The Tamarillo didn't disappear everywhere. It continues to be cultivated and loved in New Zealand, in Colombia, in Ecuador, in parts of Australia. The plant did not fail. It succeeded everywhere it was cultivated, except precisely where the industrial food system is most dominant. This is no coincidence. This is a pattern. Hands planting a seedling, a young plant growing in a pot, fruits being harvested. The good news, the Tamarillo still exists. Seeds are available from specialized online retailers. Seedlings can be ordered online. Climate. The Tamarillo can withstand temperatures down to approximately -2 degrees Celsius. In tropical and subtropical climates, such as much of Brazil, it can grow outdoors year-round. Soil and light. Full sun or partial shade. Well-drained soil. Allow at least 2 meters between plants. Water. Water regularly while the plant is establishing itself. Once established, it is drought-tolerant, but produces better with regular moisture. Harvest. Production begins in the 2nd year. Full harvest in the 3rd year. Harvest when the fruits are fully colored and slightly soft. Storage. Fresh, 4 to 6 months in a cool place. They can be frozen or processed into pulp, jam, or sauce. For those in tropical Brazil, this challenge is practically non-existent. Family harvesting fruit, children holding tamarillos, backyard with a laden mature plant. Why then don't more people grow tamarillos? Because nurseries don't sell them. Because the entire system was designed to sell seeds and annual seedlings. And because once knowledge is suppressed, it is very difficult to revive. But that knowledge is coming back. Small seed companies are offering Tamarillo. Specialized nurseries are propagating plants. The permaculture community is rediscovering perennial fruits. People are realizing that the annual gardening model is fragile. Perennial food plants are resilient. If you have space in your yard, plant a Tamarillo. If you only have a balcony, try it in a large pot that you can protect from the cold. Learn how to grow it. Experience harvesting from the same plant year after year. And then, share that knowledge. From seedlings to neighbors. The Tamarillo roots easily from cuttings. Every person who plants a Tamarillo and harvests it for 20 years stops buying that fruit. Multiply that by millions of people and you'll understand why these plants were hidden. They work too well. They make people too independent. The plant that's better than tomatoes and Tamarillo. It produces year-round in temperate climates. It keeps for 6 months without processing. It never needs to be replanted. One plant, decades of harvest, and they buried it so deep that we forgot it existed. Now you know. Now you can choose to revive what was lost. If this video sparks something in your mind, share it with someone who plants or who takes care of their family's food. It doesn't have to be a speech, just send the video. Every person who receives this knowledge is one more person who can make a different choice. And if you want to keep discovering what has been deliberately forgotten about plants, food, and self-sufficiency, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Because the next video might be even more surprising than this one.